tell the gods that kill. Because I have something worth fighting for.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Coley, a correspondent for Fandango, and ahead of tickets on sale, I'm here to chat with the cast and filmmakers of Thor: Love and Thunder. Chris, Tessa, Taika, thank you for being here.
Come get those cookies.
Yes, that's right. So it's been a few years since we saw these guys before, but I'm just curious if you can let us know, where does this fall in the timeline of the events of Endgame, Taika? Like, where are we picking up as? Where are we
This is just after the Death Star blew up.
Right before Han Solo comes in and yeah.
That's it.
Where does, you know more about Marvel movies than I do.
Well,
You are the expert. You love talking about this stuff.
Endgame left with Thor giving the kingship to Valkyrie on Earth, and Thor was in a pretty emotionally complex place at the time.
What was his physique like?
He was a little out of shape, you know.
Oh, right.
It represented his emotional kind of complexity. And he went off on a journey of self-discovery with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's kind of where we pick up.
Yeah, we pick up, he's in a little bit of an existential crisis point, and he's trying to figure out who he is, what his purpose is. You know, is he really meant to be a superhero, or is there something else? Basically, it's a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
So, you know, that point
Kinda
that
similar to
everyone's experienced this. You wake up, and you're like, am I doing what I should be doing?
Yeah.
And that's where he's at.
It's our biopic.
But I mean, and I'm just asking this for the internet. This is not my query, because I felt that he was gorgeous and a lovable person on both. But has he hit the gym? Or are we going to get to see like some montage getting into shape?
He's at the gym.
He's been back to training, yeah.
Oh, I'm digging
adjusted his regimen from Xbox to
X-Blocks.
I like
yeah.
seeing that. And then also Valkyrie, obviously being the head of the Asgardians now, this is a very different place from her than the drunken sort of wisecracking, I don't want to be anywhere. So where does she find herself on this new journey? Because
I wouldn't say that she's entirely reformed, certainly not in wisecracking. But yeah, she's taken up the kingly duties, and it's new Asgard though, so it's like Asgard on Earth, which is a different Asgard than we've seen before, and she's kind of trying to navigate that. Exploiting
her people.
A few random sponsorships.
But she's also
Spoiler.
she's got all the responsibilities of basically running a town and looking after her people. And where we find her is also missing the battlefield. Yeah, because she spent her entire life as a career soldier and part of the Valkyrie, and now she's kind of got an admin job where she's like just doing a lot of meetings and
a lot of bureaucracy, which is not really
her
favorite. She likes battleocracy.
I really do like that. I love that we're getting to get to explore this character now over 4 movies, because this was the first sort of solo MCU movie that we kind of got to see under this kind of phase. But I'm just like, what does it feel like, Chris? You're the only one that gets 4. You like, like elbowing Tom Holland, being like, I got 4, just so you know.
I didn't realize I had until a few weeks ago.
You have the most of any?
Yeah, no one else has done 4. It's going to us, eh? No, it's cool. I have loved playing this character, and every time I've done it, I've had an opportunity to do something different, particularly when Taika turned up and we threw it in a different direction and wrecked it. He turned up and sold us cookies. And, look, every time there's a new creative venture and a different space to explore, it makes for a fun ride and a fun time, and that this film is just full of boundless opportunities to recreate again or rebuild Thor, because as you said, from the last film he was in a different space. So this film was a journey of self-discovery for all of us.
Yeah, for me too.
Yeah.
All of us.
I'm just looking at just you.
All right, Tiger, we'll put you a little bit on the spot, because I don't know if you guys know this, but one of my very first interviews as RT was actually for Thor Ragnarok. And in that interview, Taika, you let it kind of slip for us that Korg was the one that got to decide whether or not we came back for a 4th Thor. So I just want to know from you, because you said it in the interview, we have the clip, you're like, it really depends on how big of a trailer he wants to get, and you were like basically saying like, Korg, so how did you get it greenlit? And when did Korg say you go ahead and do it?
Well, Korg is an incredible person, and incredible to work with. And I just, as a director, I loved working with him because it was like
There's such symbiosis between the two of you.
yeah,
It's like,
and I feel more generous with him to give him more takes because I feel like he just brings something different. And
you give him more lines.
more lines. Yeah,
He's a little difficult to work with.
yeah. He's sometimes a bit frustrated because he doesn't learn the script that I've written. And and he does it on the day.
Yeah.
And then he sometimes, I could see him. He goes, and he reads it and he goes, "Why didn't I learn this?
Yeah.
I wrote this."
It's a little rocky with him.
Yeah, it's a bit rocky.
Oi.
But no, I don't know how. We basically got this greenlit over dinner when the Ragnarok came out.
Yeah.
We went and watched, called into a few cinemas around town, and then we went and had dinner, and we started talking through ideas for this new film, and that's with Kevin and the rest of Marvel, and I think the film became so beloved that they very soon after that they said, let's just do another one.
Yeah.
I love that one. And the dynamic of this one, it says right there in the tagline, love and thunder. And so you're coming back into this one. I feel like there's going to be a lot of ships going on. There's people that shipped you in Korg. There's people that shipped you in Valkyrie. Obviously, there's the epic love story of you and Jane. Like, how is Thor's romance?
What is shipping?
Shipping.
People that support,
Relationshiping.
people that say like you two should
that
be
like
together.
standing?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like kind of like standing.
But you as a couple.
A couple. It's a couple thing.
Yeah.
Shipping.
Shipping is like two people.
Yeah, relationshipping. So they ship you two
Got
as
it.
a couple. They ship
Didn't make
you
its way down to Australia and New Zealand.
They put us in a little box. They
Don't worry,
seal it up.
you'll
They
get
put
it
some
in like
stamps on it.
10
And they
years.
ship us.
Thank you,
makes
Tessa,
sense.
for the old man translation. Sorry.
Yeah, what was your translation?
Right.
Don't worry, it'll hit your part of the world in like 7 years.
Yeah, like everything else
You
does.
just got the espresso martini like last time.
Come off it.
We just got
man.
New Zealand just got a third TV channel.
We just got TVs.
So yeah, where are your relationships going to be at this week? Is Thor going to be like in a triangle, quadrangle?
There is love in this film across the board. Everyone has a little awakening in one way or another, some shape or form.
Yeah.
And the universal love and love for oneself, love for friends, one for universe, love for
And
community.
I think, that you can assume some things from the title, but also don't assume.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's deep.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's deep.
I like that. All right, so we're going to add another female dynamic into this
That
one.
just means that we don't know what we're talking about.
That means
We're trying to be
No, but
vague.
we can't tell you anything because
Because how the film ends is
Different than what you might think, but I would say it's the loveliest Marvel movie in the history of Marvel
Yeah.
movies. Is that? Can we say that? Or
I think we can. I think we can.
think so. It's a romance.
A romantic comedy.
It's a romantic
It's a-
comedy.
it's a
It's
yeah.
a romantic comedy, romantic
Dramedy.
tragedy. It's a dramedy. Oh, and
Yeah,
when we
it's a
first
dramedy.
came up with the ideas for this, like the one thing I had in my mind, the picture I had in my mind was like a Mills and Boon cover of like a romantic book, and I was like, I want it to feel like that, like. At times some like melodrama and like but wanting it to feel and run headfirst into the romance, into the love aspect of it, and not shy away from it, and which I can tend to do in my films as a New Zealander who's cynical and hates everything. I was like, no, I'm going to commit to this, and I make sure that this does satisfy people and satisfy audiences with the romance.
I do love that so much. I just want to
I'm
ask
not even
about...
talking about the romance you all assume I'm talking about.
I do love that. Well, then, what do you feel like the Valkyrie-Jane dynamic is going to be like? Because I feel like these two ladies could have infinite sort of energies with each other, and I'm so excited to see what they bring.
I think first and foremost, Valkyrie is someone who's deeply steeped in her love of sisterhood. That sort of and missing that and longing for that, and so having Jane in the universe, I think, is lovely because she kind of has access to that thing again of having a sister. And then I think also it's delicious that she is another version of Thor. I think a big love that Valkyrie has is taking the piss out of her dear friend. And so there's like another opportunity to do that in a way with seeing his counterpart. And you know.
But I mean, but Chris, for you guys went off and did Ragnarok away from Natalie Portman's character. What was it like for her to come on this set, and then just having the Jane come into this new, I would say, Taika energy of the Thor universe?
Taikaverse.
Yes, Taikaverse. Love it. Hashtag it.
There's cookies.
And no, it was awesome because the characters are both in very different places to when we saw them last. It was also very open-ended as far as what actually happened. Did they break up? Who left who? So on. So, and I think we all at one point had to go back and look at the second film and go, how did they split up? So we had the creative license to do whatever we wanted in that sense, and then a lot of fun filling in the blanks and you know, having
And
the two of
making
them.
up the blanks.
And making up the blanks.
Making more, filling in the blanks, and then
And continually-
inadvertently making more blanks.
And creating even more questions and uncertainty.
That happened.
Well, I mean, Taika, did you sit? I mean, like Natalie, did you guys have like a dinner together? How did you pitch her to come back into this? Because she was, you know, she's on doing other things, and you
I
guys.
went to her house and she gave me a glass of water.
That was the whole thing.
And a carrot.
That's all.
Cucumber stick.
She, you know, I think that like what we did with Ragnarok was became appealing. It made these movies appealing to other actors as well. Like, you know, Christian really, he saw that. He was like, I want to do something fun, and you know, wanted to be part of this thing. And Natalie too. And you know, I think that she was just wanting to make sure that, I don't know how to say this, but like, you know, the character in her character in those first two films is probably not the most exciting version of you know, of a female character that we want from these films. And you know, and I had to sort of just talk to her about the fact that I wanted to change that character, just like we'd changed Thor's character for Ragnarok, and to give her a bit more license to be adventurous and fun, because Natalie's a really funny person, and sometimes it's, you know, sometimes those sorts of things cannot be. I know they're not the main focus when they come up with characters and, you know, in films.
Yeah. I will say this, you've done an excellent job. I think the Thor franchise has had a plethora of incredible villains or villainous instances where it's like, you know, Jeff or Loki, depending on the movie you asked for, and obviously what Kate did with Hela is just incredible. But Christian, like, knowing all these villains that you've had, what does Christian bring to the villain into the Thor universe?
Exactly what you'd want, hope, and expect. Nuance, complexity, depth, a sort of quirkiness to it, which I didn't see on the page. And with any sort of classic villain, the fact that you find yourself empathizing or asking questions that they're asking or the ideas that they're posing. It's not just stock standard sort of evil villain.
Yeah, you like root for them sometimes.
Yeah,
Him
which is
sometimes,
great if you're
which
playing the hero.
Yeah.
Everyone's rooting for the villain. So
I'd say he's the most sympathetic villain they've had. And he's also tested the highest out of any villain that Marvel's had.
Yeah.
Wow. What was it like working with him? Yeah.
Well, it's also this thing like that Stan Lee talked about, right? Which is that your trauma is the thing both that makes you a superhero and a villain, right? It's just in the case of a villain, it's unchecked, that your source of pain is what manifests into your villainry. And I think he captures that so well. And he just also was so surprising, you know?
Yeah.
Like he just would make choices that you'd be like, oh. It just was so fun to watch, and such dexterity, and also what he did with his body, and he's really in it in a way, and the way that you would assume Christian is, but he also has a sense of humor about it. I don't know.
He's a great actor, and the only other thing he's done is this film called Empire of the Sun, and that was his last job.
yeah,
He was
that was a
he
long
was
time
11.
ago too.
Yeah, he hasn't
So
worked in a
It's been
while.
an incredible journey for him.
Yeah,
Just to kind of help, you know, just sort of kickstart his career.
Yeah, it's very choosy with his projects. It's taking him a long time to
Yeah.
dive into something else.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad he's a part of this because I can't wait to see what he does. Is this Christian Bale, as he said the actor's name, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got a big.
We're gonna get there.
It's Chris something.
Well, let's talk about
Christopherson.
influences too, because there's a bunch of comic nerds that I know are coming into this knowing
Uh-oh.
the whole Jane Thor storyline. So I'm going to ask you about which specific comics you wanted to pull from, but also since you said romantic comedies, I got to know which romantic comedies would you say is loosely inspired about the
How to Lose a
Thor?
Guy in
Because
10
I
Days?
so want to know this.
It's a great one. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is great.
It's a great one.
10 Things I Hate About You is also a good film.
Oh yeah.
Clueless is my favourite, I'd say. I mean, you know, it's
Yeah.
Are these influencing it as well?
Oh no, I think these are movies I like.
Just-
I'm not sure what.
top
I'm not
fives.
sure what influences I was looking at. I was thinking about like things that were like Officer and a Gentleman,
Wow.
like particularly the end scene where he comes in and sweeps her off her feet. You remember that?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful movie. What else? I mean, just I guess the influences for me were like really big, over the top romances. Like what I can think of is like anything with a Bob Seger song in it. Or something.
Oh, okay. I can dig that. The other thing I definitely want to say is that Thor is now known for just epic cameos. Like after you did Matt and your brother, it's like I think like everyone's expecting it now. Can we be in store for some more, I would say, epic cameos on this one?
Yes.
Yes.
Nothing on that.
Otherwise, it won't be a cameo.
You don't want it to be a cameo.
Talk
you
about
know.
it.
It'll be
Okay.
a told you so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they're just going to be on the poster, and it's not a cameo.
You're gonna be. I get it. The other thing too, I definitely want to talk about is the fact that you guys do get to do a fourth one, but Taika, this is now your second endeavor. Do you think of this as part of a new trilogy? Like, how do you think this film falls?
That's an interesting question. I haven't thought about it as part of a new trilogy. Because every time I make a film, I think I'm never doing that again. And because they're just too hard. As any film. But I've done it 8 times now.
Yeah.
8 times I've said, I think I'm just going to pack it in.
Yeah.
I had a good run. And then, sure enough, get lured back in by the Yankee dollar.
All the
And
Oscars.
lured back in by them cookies.
And them Oscars.
And them Oscars.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I will have to ask both of you too, because I've gotten to interview a lot of folks on Taika's project, both television and film, and they always talk about the vibe he creates on set. That there's just a different vibe. Talk to us, try and get folks prepared for what it was like for you guys filming on this one. I hear there's lots of music, lots of drums.
Music. Yeah, lots of music, lots of bit of dancing occasionally.
A bit of dancing.
Some dancing, yeah. Snacks, good snacks.
Good snacks, some interesting direction. Some of it's like, don't do that again, Chris.
Yeah.
Do your Jack Sparrow impression, and which Tessa once thought they played this game and it was like doing impressions of and then his thing, which she had to guess was
Yeah, I was
Jack
like-
Sparrow, and he was like, she goes, Tiger.
I was sure it was you.
Jack Sparrow-esque is
Jack
definitely his style.
Sparrow-esque.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I've heard that as
It's-
my direction is in a New Zealand accent, and the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, Tessa was really great. I think maybe just in the next one, you can maybe just again something. Okay, good. Action.
Most of it is every scene you do is stifled by his laughing. His stifling.
Yeah.
Or
He's
yelling
kind of-
something
Yeah,
else
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
say
did
to you.
ruin a lot of
Decided
takes
that-
with laughing.
Yeah.
Or just yelling
How do you
over
get
the
around that?
top
Because
of
I reckon
stuff.
some of our best stuff will never see the light of day because it has you laughing over the top of it.
Well, they yeah.
I should just go direct from the trailer.
You should direct from the drop. Keep
Probably.
your distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll become one of those directors.
Tiger will sit under the camera, like right here, and just like whisper or yell or scream suggestions.
Yes.
And it's fun. It creates a spontaneity and an insanity that
Yeah. I think the
is
classic thing is
what you get on
do
screen.
it exactly like this. Okay. No. But yeah, however you want. And then no, exactly like this.
Yeah, it's all there.
But not like that.
What was your favorite under the camera Taika direction that he screamed out from you, either on this or from Ragnarok?
There's really too many to remember and think of
It's
what
constant.
the favorite is. Yeah, it's pretty constant. It never ends. Really?
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
What did the Guardians, did they know what they were getting into when they came on set? Like, did they have any idea that this was it? Like, what's the vibe now that you add in these sort of ragtag group of folks that I'm sure are just like, what is going on here?
I don't know. I have a different name to James. James, I think, he directed me briefly in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And he just knows what he's doing. That's the difference. He's got a plan, and he knows every frame that he's going to shoot, and he storyboards everything, and he just knows what he wants. where I'm just trying to, like, I'm like, I don't know what I want. I'll see it somewhere in there at some point.
The first time I met them all was on the Infinity War set. And from that day, there was just such a different sort of vibe and energy that each of the characters brought out in each other. And it was the same with on this film. Like, it's a whole different dynamic when you have characters from another franchise who are used to doing their own franchise mashed into this world. It was, like most of it, insane and hilarious and fun.
What was the favorite moment from the Guardians or Nebula or any of the new folks?
Oh, well, I didn't. I just came to set to watch because I wasn't in any of the Guardian stuff, and I don't remember which of them said it to me. But someone asked me, "Is it always like this?" I was like, "Yes, it is. Yes, it is." I think like what you were saying, Taika. I think it's like maybe just we're used to a certain like level of chaos, like existing in a certain level of chaos, because there's always like the version that's on the page and then the thing, and then we throw that out and do a bunch that we know probably maybe 95% of it will never get to be in the film, but you do it for the 5% that can live there.
And also just for the fun of, like, we're here, we got dressed up in these stupid costumes, and we may as well like enjoy this moment rather than like just be prescriptive and just do the one line that's written there.
And the residual effect of that conversation or that energy or that gag that then trails into the actual dialogue has a different sort of nuance to it.
Yeah.
I dig that. I wanted to just say real quick on uniforms, maybe we're not supposed to say, but love your Instagram picture.
So what did I do?
Of the new Valkyrie clothes.
Oh, it was my fault. I sent a picture to my stepmom and she posted it on Instagram.
Oh, man.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wasn't me, and it's a big thing. She feels terrible. I'm so sorry, Marvel. I'm so sorry, Disney. It's not my fault. I'm never gonna send selfies again.
No.
But
you looked great.
You're nowhere near Mark Ruffalo's
You're familiar, that's right. Wait a minute, can I just ask real quick?
Well, I was there. I was behind Mark Ruffalo at the premiere when he had his phone in his pocket.
And it was
someone
online.
said, live stream, you coming to the premiere. And then he was like, great, sat down and he put it in his pocket with a camera pointing out of the screen. And someone like ran in after 10 minutes and was like, pulled the phone out of his pocket because he had been streaming the movie.
It was probably one of the greatest dad internet moments ever. And I loved it so much.
I told you not to make me do this live stream stuff.
Poor Mark. I appreciate it, though. All right, last thing, though, on the new film, and I know you probably can't say, but if we're going to go ahead and say Taikaverse, we have to talk about the multiverse, because I feel like Marvel just added this, like, wrench in all of you guys' tea now, where there can be different versions of every event, and you don't know which version of Loki between Endgame and some of the other stuff they've done.
Oh, God.
I know. I just have to ask.
Too
Do
many.
you think
There was
Thor's...
an editorial multiverse within this film. I was thinking today, like, depending on which avenue you went down with which improvised scene, you have...
There's the potential for 15 different versions of this movie.
That would be so cool.
could
We
be so
should do
cool,
that
wouldn't
one where you could like choose
I've
your
always
own
loved
adventure.
I always loved the idea of like just taking all of the footage and then making it available and just saying to someone else,
Go cut
"Here's
it.
it.
Make a movie."
Make your version of this movie."
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
I love this so much. Now that we're 4 films deep, obviously everyone wants to talk about the legacy of the Thor films and the legacy of the MCU. I want you to, if you could please just talk about what you think is the legacy of the Taikaverse, like these 2 films together. What do you want folks to take from them? And I'll start with you, Tessa.
I don't know. I always thought when we made Ragnarok, the whole concept of Ragnarok is it basically like destruction, and inside of destruction, there's the opportunity for creation. Like Taika and I talk so much about introducing Valkyrie. Like, what does it look like if a female superhero disrupts some of those like classic tropes? Like, what does that look like? And to me, that feels like a unique contribution, which is to say, like, the tropes are really cool. It's why we all tune in and we watch these movies obsessively. And also, what can we do to subvert them? That, to me, feels like the legacy of what our films do and hopefully continue to get to do.
Love that. What about you, sir?
Well, I think what Taika does so brilliantly in all of his films, and going right back to the first film I saw, which was Boy, is there's a wonderful amount of fun and adventure and humour, but heart at the centre of it, and love, and I do. This is what this film embodies, and I think all of his films have in many, many layers.
This film definitely, like, again, well, we're not going to go on about love too much, but, you know, I keep thinking about those moments in this film. There are moments in this film that I think are very touching. And you know, whether your film is for people to have this, be swept away on this adventure and escape and laugh and have fun, but also to feel something. And I think, you know, this film is quite emotional as well. So.
Yeah. I'm going to bring it to another emotional side a bit too, because when I was gearing up for this, I let folks know, and like the love they have for this particular franchise, for you as Thor, for you as Valkyrie, for your direction is pretty intense. Like people were like mad at me because I was going to be here. And I just have to ask you, Taika, coming into this, I know the fans are so a big part of how you make your films. How has it been to see their reaction?
It's quite amazing. I mean, when I first got Ragnarok, you know, there were a few people who were like, who's this guy? He's going to ruin everything. And I was like, that's the point. That's not the point. I'm coming in to break it and then make it in a new way. And there was a lot of love after that, which was great. But it was also, you know, it was a collaboration, a joint effort. Like Marvel wanted to do something different, which is why they brought me in. Chris wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something different. And it just, I guess we all just thought, what do we want out of this film, and let's try and satisfy that want and that need.
Well, I think you have. Folks that don't know, like I said, tickets are on sale now for Thor, Love and Thunder. Please head over to Fandango and you can pick up your tickets now.
Come get those cookies.